Hey guys, how's it going? I don't know if everybody's jumped in yet. We are starting to get things rolling here. Got a special treat today for lunch. We're doing bull and bear. I've got pulled pork, brisket, and ribs, along with a we'll call it a token salad, just so my cardiologist doesn't get too crazy, and some banana bread. So let people come on in. I hope everybody's having a good week. If you're in the Northeast or other parts, it is opening day in New York State is tomorrow for whitetail, for hunting. I spent the last week and a half, most mornings, some evenings, in tree stands with a bow, and nothing in the freezer, but had a 4-point come right by. We had kind of a policy. We only go 6 or bigger. Had a doe that was good sized doe that I just about to pull the trigger, and she was a little bit of a long shot, and she turned and walked, so I didn't. But had a lot of deer running around, which is it's a pretty cool way to spend the morning. So anyhow, we are live, Gun Lunch Live. So I do lunch live with everybody every other Friday as an opportunity for people to share their opinions, ask questions. We live the firearms community, firearms industry. So many CEOs are totally unavailable. They don't want to deal with some of the liberal sides of stuff. Probably, I'm not sure, but we want to change that. So, SecureIt, we're just a old-fashioned regular company, and I'm just an old-fashioned regular guy who happens to run it. But so we figured we do live broadcast every other Friday in open forum. Like any questions you guys have, ask. We've got a good show today. We've got Weird Beard coming on today, and I'm excited. He's got a great podcast that we're going to talk about, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I was actually a guest on his podcast, probably I'd say 6 months. It's probably 10 years ago. Every time I blink my eyes, it seems like another 2 weeks goes by. I found out, on Tuesday, I was speaking with a gentleman I know that we're planning a hunting trip, and we're talking about dates. He said, well, no, because next Thursday, that's Thanksgiving. I said, no, Thanksgiving's in 3 weeks. And he goes, no, it's next Thursday. And that's kind of the nature of how the world is, how my world is right now. But so that's gonna be a big thing. Other things going on. We got Kyle Rittenhouse news, or lack of news. If anybody's got an opinion on that, I kind of think I see where this is going now. You've got people out in the street chanting that they're going to riot. The jurors inside can hear this, which is, from a legal standpoint, that's problematic. The fact that it's gone 3 days, I think this thing goes mistrial, and the judge may declare a mistrial with prejudice. The judge isn't an idiot, and he knows, he can see what's going on. And when you look at beyond reasonable doubt, I don't think they can convict this guy. I don't think they should. However, politically, it's a red hot topic. They don't want riots. It's everything that shouldn't be. It's the way our justice system just shouldn't work. But I think it goes mistrial, and if they're going to retry Kyle, I think defense pushes for change of venue. I think the prosecution will go along with it because they want to, from a safety security standpoint, take this to another state, take it a long ways away, and have a trial. He'll be found innocent. It'll be 2 years from now, people kind of forgot about it, and it'll be over and done with. That's kind of, I think this is going mistrial at this point. There's no way they're coming back with a guilty verdict. There's probably 1 or 2 jurors that just don't want to acquit him. But that's my thought. If anybody has an opinion, jury intimidation is a hell of a thing. Mr. Berto, how you doing today, sir? Good to see you. I kind of figured you'd be live with us today. always a pleasure to have you on the show. And if you guys have any questions throughout the whole show, any topics to discuss, our brand promise now is I'll answer any question. We can talk about any subject. I'm not worried about being canceled. I really don't care about political correctness. We run a company, and it's a successful, fast-growing company that's making a difference. Not because I'm some whiz bang. It's because I've got really good people. And the only smart thing I do is I let people who are really good at their jobs do their jobs without me, mucking it up, not me getting too involved. We'll talk about that when we get to the no bullshit business insight part of the show. Another gun launch. Hope you are well, Scott. I am well. Glocks for Kids. I've seen that name a few times. Yeah, it's fun. We're slowly getting a larger and larger following, which is good. It's kind of the way this thing is supposed to work. Years from now, hopefully we'll turn on and have 5,000 people following. We'll have a big dialogue. We'll be talking about issues we can actually make a difference in the world. Other thing going on with SecureIt, we've got Black Friday promos running and continuing. We've got Klarna we hooked up with, interest-free. No interest for six months or a year. Seth, type that in the notes because I don't remember. I was out of the loop on the final on that one, but it is you can buy online and pay per month, which is a little easier, interest-free, which is, I'm not a big believer. I don't like paying interest on things. I like to pay for it is interest-free. But we are running Black Friday promos on things. Inventory is good. Our ops department did just a hell of a job working through the challenges. The logistic challenges in the world are not a joke. It's real deal. We actually rerouted a lot of our shipping. We started doing things differently. And we've been able to really sidestep a lot of the issues. We anticipated, and we actually built our inventory up way beyond where we normally would have it this summer and early fall. So, if I had to order a bunch of stuff, get stuff made right now, it'd be time consuming and it'd be expensive. But I think we've got our inventory to get us through the end of the year. So I've noticed online some of the dinosaurs out there, the dinosaur safe companies are, they're quoting 12, 16 weeks to get a safe. That's crazy. If your guns are sitting on the floor, you ain't got 12 or 16 weeks. We're going to talk about guns, safes, and capacity. I've got a dinosaur behind me, and I've got our answer 12, and we're going to talk about those today on the show. So does anybody have any early questions to kick things off? Moderator, Black Friday deals. Yes, go to the website. There's a big banner about our Black Friday promos. And if you're considering the gift of SecureIt, we will have gift cards available this year. It's a great holiday gift. It's gift cards for Christmas. One of the secrets I'll tell you about that rolls into January is gun wall and gun room month here. So we are all about designing and building and helping people design and build custom gun rooms and gun walls. Gift cards for Christmas rolls into really cool gun rooms and gun walls come January. So it's an opportunity to get everything off the floor, get everything on the walls, and build yourself like the ultimate man cave. It can be pretty slick stuff. So other things that are going on in the world, we've got a lot happening. There's just a lot of different things going on. We had our giveaway with Stag and Paramount Tactical, and the winners of that were announced last week, and that was a really nice rifle. 2 days of training at Paramount, an Agile cabinet, all expenses paid. It was a pretty significant giveaway, and we're gonna have more of those coming up. I've also got I'm waiting. I just ordered a Trigicon Credo. It's a 3x10 with a 56 millimeter objective optic for a 6.5 Creedmoor Stag rifle I just got. So I'm gonna be building that and probably me having one of the Stag guys on the show here in 2 weeks. I'm excited. I wanted to get the rifle done for hunting season, And I was out. Opening day is tomorrow, and I must admit to you guys, because we are all about upfront and honest. I was at the range this morning at 8 o'clock, dialing in I hunt with a lever action 30-30, and then I've got an AR-10. It's an ultra lightweight AR-10 308, and then I've got a muzzle loader. So I just went through those just to do the check. Normally that's something you want to do in August, and things just got crazy. And there were a bunch of us at the range, and it was cold and snowing and blowing. We were all freezing our butts off. But muzzle loader, my first shot was at 30 yards. I was 18 inches right of or left of target. I'm like, holy crap. And shooting that thing blows your head off. I mean, it's a big kick, loud, it's slow, you have to reload it and everything. I'm like, damn it. So I just cranked the turret, just a whole bunch of turns. I'm loaded, shot it again, and I was just off the target. I was like, I just got lucky. So I took it out to 75 yards. It took me 3 more shots to get it in. But I thought I'd be in for a nightmare. But if you've never, or if you have sighted in a lightweight muzzle loader, I'm shooting 120 grain. I'm not sure it's a, I think it's a Hornady, like a lever evolution type, polymer tip round, 50 caliber round. I actually took my glove off and made a shoulder pad with it because it kicks like a mule. But anyhow, so I hope you guys are out. And Berto, I'm a Les Paul fan. Oh yeah, we were at the house last time. For those who don't know, in a former life, I was a professional guitar player for many years out of high school. And Fender or Gibson? I'm a Fender guy. I've played Gibsons, I've owned them, and I'll tell you what the difference is. People always talk, there's always debate about Gibson guitars or Fender guitars, Les Paul versus Strat. So here's the difference, and this is the actual difference that everybody should realize, because this is the shit. This is what it is, and it's nothing else. Les Pauls are Rolls Royces. Strats are Ferraris. They both do things extremely well, but they're really designed for a different type of performance. Les Paul just melts in your hands. It just is a creamy, smooth, wonderful guitar to play. A Strat, you got to fight with it and work at it and bend it and tweak it and hammer on it, but it corners really, really well. If you look at the big tone guys or big sound guys, Les Pauls, if you look at technical players, tend to be more Strat. So that's the in on guitars. So we're coming up on quarter after, and I love the analogy. You know what? Let's see if that gets violence. So jump here. I'm gonna apply technology to this to the live broadcast. I'm gonna bring in Mr. Weird Beard here. I think this is how this works. Hang on a sec. Boom!
There I am.
How are you, man?
How you doing, Tom?
I am doing unbelievable. It's now when did we do the show?
Oh, I just looked it up. It was I think towards the beginning of the year, towards the end of last year. I could look it up right now if
pretty close to SHOT Show. I think it was. Yeah, that makes sense. But
and hilariously, I was actually just talking about you to I was hanging. I've met a new shooter recently, and I told him, I said I'm Madonna in Like a Virgin right here. Like I love taking a new shooter to the range because it's one of those I'm starting to get old and moldy, and I've seen it all, and there's very, very, very few things that really excite me. The way it did back in the early days of a 22. Wow. This is so much fun. And a Glock. Wow. And I love seeing that. And he was talking about storage, and I was telling him a bunch of the stuff that you were talking about on the show. Mm-hmm. And actually, the one thing I really wanted to talk to you about this is I had heard this and it makes sense to me, but I've actually never heard a confirmation of it in, say, stuff like that Liberty safe behind you.
Yeah.
If I was to put, a couple cases of ammo in there, because I know a bunch of people that lock up their ammo, and I'm sure there's some states that require it. but I do remember hearing somebody say, whatever you do, don't lock up your ammo in a fireproof safe, because in the event there is a fire and it does get past the short period of time that it supposedly will survive the fire. And I'll let you talk more on that stuff, because you're the expert on the subject. But eventually you're going to get to a point where that ammo is going to start cooking off. And now you're building up pressure, and for it to be fireproof, it's got to be airtight, because otherwise all those hot gases are just going to go right into it. So if the hot gases can't get in, the hot gases can't get out. And are we dealing with like a gigantic pipe bomb?
I think so. Not that I ever made a pipe bomb when I was a kid, maybe with matches, and I don't remember.
Oh yeah, no,
we never.
Maybe in Mexico.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I believe it will. There are those that say I'm wrong. And the challenge, ammo in a fire, we all know, cooks off. It crackles like little firecrackers. It's non-ballistic. They pop. The hot casing might land on your shoe. That's about the extent of it. However, as you said, in a safe with drywall, carpeting, I don't believe they're not fireproof. And they're going to go about 10, 12 minutes. That's about it in a raging fire. I can talk about that a little later on. In more detail. But what happens, and this is my opinion, and we are going to prove that this spring, what happens is the ammo starts getting hotter. Now, in a fire with a box of ammo sitting in a hot fire, the outside rounds reach critical, like probably 400 degrees or so in that temperature, and as they reach that temperature, they start burning, cooking off. When you've got a safe that's got drywall and carpeting, the inside of that safe, the fire is 1,000 degrees of flames, and they cook that ammo quick. With the safe, though, the inside of the safe comes up in temperature very evenly and slowly, and allows the rounds to heat up evenly, slowly, so that when the first round gets to 400 and whatever, I don't know the exact temperature, it's in that 400 to 500 range, I believe. At that point, you've got hundreds of rounds all at the same point. First one goes, and they're all unstable. Boom, you got a lot of ammo going off. Once that pressurizes, it generates more. You're confining the energy, which it's going to start increasing, and you're going to have a big pipe bomb. So what we are doing this spring, I wanted to shoot it this fall, and we ran into weather situations. It got so wet we couldn't actually do what we needed to do. We've got the SecureIt Ranch, 500 acres of incredible hunting land that we purchased earlier this year. I'm actually digging a trench, and we're going to build a room. We're going to simulate a room in a house. I've got Liberty's ammo can. It's the stupidest product I've ever. It's an ammo storage cabinet that they design and sell. That's lined with drywall and carpeting. Why would you do that? Why not just make it a metal box and vent it? In the military, typically there's not ammunition in armories. In SOCOM, Special Forces and SEAL teams, they are all authorized so many pounds of ammo. And it has to be stored in a fully vented, punched cabinet for a reason. They do not want to create a ballistic situation. And we are going to test that. We're going to prove it this summer. I think the video is going to be a blast, literally. And we're going to, we're going to tee this thing up as best we can. But let me show you. I'm going to turn the camera here. It's not something you're supposed to do per the book about doing live broadcasts. But let me open this thing up. So this is our ammo storage cabinet. It's 24 by 24. It's fully punched door and sides. Each shelf holds 400 pounds. So you really can't overgross it. We sell a lot of these. It's not inexpensive, but it's not inexpensive to make. This is a military, mil-spec cabinet. We sell a lot of these to the U.S. military for all sorts of high-value gear storage, but it is a heck of an ammo cabinet. And that's what an ammo cabinet should be. Crazy shelf space, shelf loading. It does have the cradle grid in the background, so you could store you could store 8 rifles along the back with ammo and gear above it. It does have the cradle grid system in it, but I'm barely touching the surface as to what I've got in there. I probably got 300 pounds of ammo, but I don't know of anybody that could max that thing out. Well, anybody who'd admit that they could max that thing out, I'm sure they can. But yeah, we're going to get this turned back. We are going to prove that this summer, and I think it's going to be a really good video.
I mean, if it is what I think it is, because like I said, somebody told me that a long time ago, and again, I told you all the reasoning I did behind it to say that sounds legitimate. Is it needs to be airtight for it to be fireproof, and we all know that. I mean, even if they go under the manufacturer's guidelines, it's not. You don't have a ton of time, and so, you know, especially if it's, you know, in a basement or up, you know, the places where people are going to have the localized storage that you also speak out against. It's going to be somewhere far away from where the firefighters are probably going to be making entry. So, unless you got a really lucky chance, it's going to be compromised anyway. So
it is. And what's really, I mean, we could make this every week, every time I do an industry call out, we could make this the industry call out. Why would you put insulation in an ammo cabinet? In the event of a fire anywhere near your ammo, you are going to throw that ammo away. You're going to destroy it. You're never going to put cooked ammo through a rifle. That's like Firearms 101. If you've got ammo that's been in a fire, don't use it, because the properties of the powder can change when heat is applied. And I don't want, I mean, I wouldn't risk a rifle or my own safety. So the ammo's gone anyhow. So why are you trying to protect it in a fire? In a fire, you want the ammo just to pop and crackle and go away, so firefighters can get in and do their job.
That's one of the theories from Scott at Kentucky Ballistics when he nearly was killed by that 50 cal that blew up on him. Is there's a couple of theories, and I don't know if anybody's nailed it down. Is if it was reloaded ammo and somebody did a bad job at reloading it, or it was old ammo that had been heat cycled enough time that the powder had degraded, and so therefore it burned catastrophically fast. But either way, I'll tell you right now what it wasn't Mark Serbu's rifle from everything I've seen, because that rifle looks like it is built like a brick shithouse, and so for it to blow up the way it did, that was something bad.
Yeah, viewers, if you haven't seen the video, I mean, he does a good job going over what happened. They estimate what the pressure in that barrel went to, but it's an amazing survival story for a guy that had his carotid artery was severed. I mean, he was blown up. Most people don't survive. What do you know the name of how can people find that video?
I mean, honestly speaking, I think it blew up so big. I think if you just type in Kentucky Ballistics and 50 BMG, it's, I mean, not only will you find its video, but you'll find about 30 reaction videos, including a bunch of like non-gun people that saw it and did reaction videos on it. So I mean, it's Scott did very, very poorly that day as far as getting injured goes, but his channel did leaps and bounds. He went viral, and thankfully he lived to see the all the new eyeballs.
Did he didn't lose an eye in that, did he? Or
no, he shattered an orbital. He shattered an orbital.
Remember, he was hit hard.
He shattered an orbital, maybe its cheekbone. He got the jugular vein severed, and he plugged that with his thumb. And then one of the pieces on the back of the receiver actually entered his chest cavity. So they had to crack his sternum to retrieve that. So that was a rough day,
guys. Yeah, let's to bring this to our conversation today. If you don't know the history of your ammo, probably don't shoot it. Now, I took the camera off the cabinet, but you looked at our cabinet. I got some cases of 7.62. I got boxes. Every single one of them is dated, and there's a lot of debate as to how old ammo you can use it. And I don't know the answer, but we do date everything. I date everything I own, just so if nothing else, I grab the oldest and try to cycle it. The horrible thing is shooting rifles. In the last 16 months, I've been to the range, I think 3 times, maybe. It's no excuse other than I've just been doing other stuff.
I mean, I've slacked off a ton, and my big excuse was that number one, the prices were going up, and I really didn't feel like shooting what I was going to, what I had that either I wouldn't be able to find replacements for, or I'd have to pay fees that I really wasn't interested in. And then also, everybody I know who's in a gun shop is telling me when the people, especially during the initial rush, I actually haven't heard that many anecdotes recently, but during the initial rush, the spring and summer of 2020, all the people that were coming in were brand new people. They were buying their first and second rifle, shotgun, pistol, and they were all buying, social guns. It was all, the deer guns and the sporting clay shotguns and all that were doing just fine in inventory. It was all of the defensive pistols and the defensive rifles and the tactical type shotguns and things like that were getting bought out. And I just was thinking, man, I've logged a ton of trigger time over the years, and my skills have degraded a little bit, but there's only so far you can fall, and these people need to make that initial rise. And I did not want to go in and be like, oh, I need a couple of boxes of 45. Well, I've got 2. Well, I guess I'll take them. And meanwhile, somebody else who picked up an M&P 45, not because they're a 45 junkie like me, but because it was what they had, and they're like, will this work? This will work. Okay, I guess I'll take that one. And now they go in, do you have any 45? Sorry, some dude with a gray beard just came in and took the last 45, and he's shot 100,000 rounds of 45 over his lifetime. And these 2 boxes really aren't going to make that big of a difference in my life, but they'll make a huge difference in someone who's first learning how to shoot.
It's yeah, I mean, it's what's interesting. We're talking about the first-time buyers, and there's a lot of data coming out, and there's a lot of data that isn't coming out. If you notice that the liberal side of the Democrats, they're not hitting hard on two-way issues right now. And
no,
they came out with, let's defund the police, let's get rid of police. Well, you got riots in the streets. For the first time, a whole lot of liberal anti-gun people looked out the window of their condos, their $1 million condos, and like, hey, if that crowd comes up these stairs, I'm sitting duck. And they all realized for the first time that safety and security is first and foremost is a personal thing. You are responsible for your safety and your security, then the safety and security for those around you. If you're a parent, your family, and then your neighbors. It kind of radiates out. And a lot of anti-gun people realize, I think for the first time, that no, the government's not always. You can't guarantee the government's going to be there when things hit the fan at your house. So I think the Democrats they don't want to come strong on this because they don't know who these gun buyers are. They don't have the data yet.
Well,
for Biden, I'm
sure. I'll say the Assorted Calibers podcast, one of the things that I really wanted to make when I started this show is I wanted it to be, number one, more of a show about the Second Amendment as a concept, as opposed to gun and gear review, just because there's so many people that do it better than me. So, I mean, I'm not going to be able to review, guns and gears. I'm not going to be able to do safe reviews as good as you are, Tom. And so, but I can talk politics. I can talk politics, and I can talk about the merits of the Second Amendment. And I wanted to make it a point to have it not be, even though there is some left-right divides. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't be looking at a whole bunch of gun control bills going through right now. Joe Biden campaigned on being against the Second Amendment and wanting to ban AR-15s. He was saying he was going to put Beto in his cabinet, and there's no reason why that didn't happen. And so, there's a lot of that. And I think the big reason is because even though there is more of a partisan line, I don't think it's a partisan issue. I think that even if you're for, $15 minimum wage, universal health care, end all the wars, legalize all the drugs, abortion for everybody. I mean, name any. I'm just hitting hot button issues, and I'm trying not to piss anybody off. I'm just being generic. But imagine, Bernie Sanders has every right to protect himself with a firearm, as Rand Paul or Donald Trump, and so and they're, you know, with the exception of the people that have Secret Service protection, that, you know, they need it just as much as them, because they have to wait for a response time just like anybody else. And so I'm willing to bet, I don't think anybody's talking about it, because there is a huge faction within most of the Democrat Party of people that are very much against gun control. And I think that the Democrat Party as a whole doesn't want to alienate those people and alienate their money. But at the same time, I think they're hearing, especially from the urban areas, especially from the minority communities, those people are hitting the gun stores. You know, especially, you mentioned defund the police. I mean, if, say what you will, whether you believe it or not, if you think the police are racist and they're not going to protect you, and they don't like people of certain colors or people of certain ethnic backgrounds or people of certain economic backgrounds or all that, and they're corrupt and they're just going to feather their own nest, not saying that's true, but if that's what you personally believe, why would you not want to have a gun?
Yeah. No, you're spot on. I mean, I've told many people, I think the fight for the Second Amendment is not going to be a big issue. If they try to bring this up now, they're already looking at possibly catastrophic losses in the election next November. If they go after guns too, their policies aren't popular. I don't care, again, yeah, what you are right now, we're talking about everything they're doing. It only plays in Board of Election meetings, in politics, and on CNN and you know, all the news stations. When you go out into America, those aren't the issues people care about that I see. And the whole thing on racism is just I don't say racism is a joke, but you're walking down the street anywhere, almost anywhere in America, and somebody trips and falls. The guy next to him helps, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of anything. By nature, that's been my experience, is people help each other, and you know, divide and conquer could be what they're trying to do. But no, I think Second Amendment is, I think it's safe and sound for quite a while.
And I'm just looking at the chat. I don't know if anyone's heard this, but my phone is blowing up right now. Evidently, the Rittenhouse jury's come in, and according to what I'm just reading real quick, I don't want to distract myself from this show, but it sounds like it's a full acquittal.
Okay. Not guilty on all counts.
Hell's yeah.
Boom. Yep.
I mean, I was afraid of that one. Like, outside, this is
the second headline is House passes $1.7 trillion bill. Smart, stupid, back to back. So anyhow, they did the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's I really see this case as, especially the amount of video you've got, outside of a bunch of self-defense shootings out there where the person was no build. The best example that really comes to mind is Jack Wilson that was Texas, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the church shooter, and the guy who owned the shooting range. Speaking of really good idea to practice a lot, that was an incredible shot, but that was he was never charged, and I don't think Kyle should have been either, just because it was all on tape. And we saw it all. And
I think people were mad that a 17-year-old kid from out of town came to their town with a rifle. Now, it's not against the law. I don't think what he did, if it was my son, we'd have a trouble. I'd have a problem with that. You know,
well, again, so there's the thing, Tom. I heard about this on Brandon Herrera of all places. I haven't even heard about it on the news, and all of the geeky, you know, news diving and searching court records and stuff like that. But Kyle's dad lives in Kenosha.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, so I would assume that Kyle lives in Kenosha. If from everything I've been hearing, and like I said, no one's been talking about this, and I haven't dug too deep on it, but it sounds like his parents are split, because clearly one lives in Antioch, one lives in Kenosha. Right. But Kyle's 17, so I would imagine, unless this divorce was really messy, which it also doesn't sound like, Kyle was at least spending weekends in Kenosha, hence the reason why he was working there. Right. So Yeah, he crossed state lines, but my aunt lives in New Hampshire, but works in Maine.
Right.
You know,
And
she lives.
It's not I mean, crossing state lines with a rifle. The only issue is he's 17, I think. Correct.
Yeah. Well, and he didn't cross the lines with a rifle. The rifle lived in just outside of Kenosha. So
it's. I mean, yeah. It's. How come everybody? I heard people talking. You know, why is a 17-year-old kid and boom boom with a rifle and they're all they got to convict this guy? I'm like, well, why is a convicted felon pulling a handgun?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody asked that question.
Well, also the question, you know, I always wanted to put if I was ever writing a script for an action movie, I would love a scene where one of those movies where it starts off real quiet and then suddenly someone's attacked, and have one of the characters pull a gun and ward off the attackers, and then they're running to safety. And when they get a moment to catch their breath, the other person who had no idea they were carrying a gun, why are you carrying a gun? And just have this incredulous look on your face on the, right. I just pulled a gun and saved our lives. Why would I carry a gun? Like,
we are alive.
I get people asking me, you know, I'm carrying, I got my shoulder holster on right now. I'm in my house, you know, and it's one of those, why are you carrying a gun right now? Well, because I put it on when I get dressed. And that's how it is. That people can get confused about. But why did Kyle have a gun? There was at least 3 people who attempted to kill him. Yeah. And you could argue that there was the guy with the rock in his hand and the guy that tried to boot him in the head. And then furthermore, the angry mob, that if one of them just wanted to give him a little bit of a beating, who's to say all those other people are going to stop?
If he's not armed in that situation, he does not survive that night.
No.
Those guys they went at him hard. And
and they would have gone after him harder had he not been carrying a gun. I mean, the guys who did get shot or shot at are kind of Darwin Award candidates, because, like, don't go chasing after, even if it's a 17-year-old kid, don't go chasing after somebody with a gun.
My only thought is they had to believe they could take the gun from him.
Yeah.
And if they'd done that, they would have turned it on him and shot him.
Yeah. Or, I mean, it could have also just been the blind rage of, I mean, the Rosenbaum, I mean, if you read his rap sheet, I'm not even going to get into it here, but
he's a violent people.
I mean, yeah. I mean, my statement behind him is that he is criminally insane. I mean, it's just the stuff that he did made no sense, and the wanton violence and the depravity that he did was awful. And yeah, and so I'll leave it at that. This is your show, not mine. So let's not tread too much on a man's grave. But you know, he obviously wasn't in his right mind, and there was someone on the stand talking about the fact that he wasn't properly medicated at the time of his death, and so he probably tried to take it. And then at that point in time, you know, is it, you know, a mob mentality, a team mentality on they just killed one of our guys?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because it certainly wasn't justice, because he's running towards the cops, and you could see the barricade from where the first shots were fired, and that's the direction he's running. If you just want to make sure that he doesn't hurt anybody else, let him go towards the Bearcats.
Yeah, it's well, I hope that the police of Kenosha are allowed to do their job tonight. That's the I feel bad for the citizens. If you've got most of the people that will be rioting in the streets, if there is any,
I hope there isn't.
So do I. But
I mean, I'm all for protesting. Go out and make yourself go out and say that the judge was wrong and that Kyle needs to spend the rest of his life in prison. I don't agree with it, but say what you will. We're here saying what we're thinking. I've got no problem with that, but don't go burning stuff and breaking people's stuff and taking people's stuff. And if you do, don't be upset when people shoot back, because these are people's lives and these are people's livelihood.
You wonder how many of the people, if it happens, I'll bet a lot of the crowd is not local. There's a coordinated effort to bus in difficult people in the difficult situations, it seems like. But anyhow, that's a nice way to end the week, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised.
I'm glad. You know what? I don't know who was on the jury. It was a mix of people, but you know what? In this case, it looks like justice was served.
I hope we don't know who's on the jury, because that's another question. Is that
Right.
these?
Well, they wanted to. I mean,
that's one of the big things that we need to be concerned about, because you've got the person at the very, very beginning of the trial that allegedly photographed the jury.
Yep.
And then we've got this story about the NBC reporter who was supposedly trying to get license plate information and things like that. I don't know if that's true. I hope it isn't. But
he was arrested running a red light, chasing the bus with the jurors.
Mm-hmm. And this is absolutely, there's, whether or not any of these other people had nefarious means, there are people with nefarious means who want to know who these people are. And now that this decision's been reached, they really want to know who these people are. And let's hope they don't find out.
No, I know. That's exactly. Great. Yeah, that's good. Hey, before we're running out of time, before we go, I got to open up these two cabinets behind me, because I had someone give me a hard time, not a hard time, but busting on me about capacity. And our Answer 12 cabinet only holds 12 guns. And they brought up the reference that like a Liberty 1776 holds 36 in the same footprint. Basically trying to give me a hard time. I mean, in a fun, sporting way, trying to wind me up. So I'm going to open these up. So I did a little taste test. So I took I actually went and bought the safe he was talking about. And we got some other fun plans for this thing. But so that's a Liberty safe, holds 36 guns. I've got 12 rifles in there. And Steven from Tech came out. He helped me get them in there. I've got some high-end guns, some high-end optics, and it was quite difficult to get some of these in without really banging them all up. There's quite a few guns banging into each other. And
Tom, can you get the ones? Can you get any one gun out without taking a whole bunch of others out?
I can take out this one. That's about it. And even putting it back in to get it to clear the door is difficult. But yeah, it's a freaking mess, guys. Our second half of industry call out. Now let's do this. So let's see. How am I blocking the camera?
Yeah, look at that.
So that's an Answer 12. That's the same footprint. It's the same size cabinet with 12 guns in. Now, the Liberty advertises 36 guns. I'm not big on swearing on my own show, but that's bullshit. And our safe holds 12 guns, and boom, that's 12. And that's not just 12 little guns. I've got a Petra with a huge razor scope. I've got a Remington 700. I'll show them with the op with big. I mean, that's a big scope. There's another one, US Optics. We've done some work with those guys. Good optics. And I've got a lot of gear behind them. It's, apples to apples, we're getting hit by the safe industry on capacity all the time. When I met with the guys over at Liberty years ago, they said, well, your system only holds 12 guns. I'm like, your safe only holds 12 guns. In this case, it doesn't even hold 12 guns well. And they all said, well, that's our industry's little white lie. Capacity. If StatCon says 35 guns, Liberty says 36. Canon says 40. And it just keeps going up. The reality is 36 inches of space holds 12 guns. In the military, 36 inches, 12 guns. There's a reason. It allows you clean access, clear one arm, one gun. You've got room for optics. If you plan it right, up to a 5-inch thermal imaging scope, and it is, it's proper storage. I've got fast access to any one of these rifles. So, industry call.
I'll say right now, without calling out anybody, with my own storage solutions. Yeah, no. If I want a particular gun, I've got the guns that I am either regularly shooting or might need to get to in a hurry. I've got those. Those can only go in certain places in the safe so that I can get them out quickly. But there's some other stuff somebody wants to see, oh, don't you have an old Enfield? Can I have a look at that? Oh, geez, I haven't got that out in a while. Hang on a bit. Here, and might have to get 5 or 6 guns out of the safe before I can get to that gun that's in the back.
And what are you doing with the guns when you take them out? You're laying them on the floor?
Usually laying them on the floor, or stacking them up against the bench, and I've had them tip over too, and just
I've done the same.
It's nothing worse than a military surplus gun with a pedigree sliding off the edge of a desk onto a floor. Ugh.
It's awful. We just got a comment in saying, yeah, but what's the cost difference? Not much. I mean, they're about the same. I mean, we get blasted for saying that $2,000 safe holds 12 guns, because in Liberty's world, $2,000 safe holds 36, holds 40 guns. Well, it doesn't. It's just they make the little W's. So our cabinets range from $600 up to about $2,000, about $2,500. When you look at gun safes, they're in roughly that range. And what are you getting with a gun safe there? You're getting a metal box with drywall and carpeting and a really bad interior. With our system, you're getting a individual rifle storage adjustable system that is designed. We designed that working with USAFIC, which was U.S. Army Special Forces Command at the time. That was about 12 years ago, maybe it was a long time ago. But no, it works, and it works well. So I love this fight, and I love when the safe industry brings it to me, because all I got to do is open the door. That's we always talk about respecting firearms, and one of our adds to that is respect doesn't end when you close the door. And in the case of the Liberty, there's no respect for those firearms, and they're scratched, damaged. There was an article on The Truth About Guns, one of those sites, talking about the #1 cause of damage to firearms, to wear and tear, was going in and out of gun safes. I read that before we even got into the consumer gun storage industry. But hey, holy crap! You want to make like a half hour go by fast? Do a podcast. It's always amazing how fast things scream by. So, do you have? I've got to get wrapping things up here. We're running out of time here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with viewers and people? How can people learn more about you, your podcast? Because you do have a very good podcast.
Yeah. No, it's called the Assorted Calibers Podcast. It should be on all the places where you get your podcasts. So your Apple. It's not iTunes anymore. It's the Apple Podcast and Google Podcast. Just search in Assorted Calibers Podcast into there. We're also on assortedcalibers.com, and that will have that's another place where you can get the show notes and links to things like SecureIt Tactical. And I'm also on Handgun Radio. If you want to just listen to me instead of talking about the politics side of it, listen to me and Ryan Machad geek out about handguns and revolvers and such. So yeah, that's that is the best place to find us.
Hey guys, everybody go over, check it out. It is a good podcast. It's definitely worth giving a listen to. Are you going to be out at SHOT Show this year?
I had not planned to. I normally don't go to SHOT Show, so at some point I'm probably going to have to. This gets asked more and more of me, so at some point I'm going to have to fly out to Vegas.
SHOT Show's turning into show to a certain extent. We don't do a booth there anymore. We used to. We spent a fortune to be at that show, and I'm out there for the week. We actually rent a suite in the plaza, the very top floor, a huge suite with 7 or 8 other companies, and do a cocktail party every night for the military and do presentations on the military side of the business. But I go out there just to have meetings.
Yep.
The show to me is a blur. I might walk half the floor, but it gets a little crazy. But I am glad they're doing it. Because there was some worries that they weren't. Well, sir, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. It was a good time, Tom. I really appreciate you bringing me on.
What we'll probably do is reach out and get you back on here at some point in the future and continue these conversations, because they're good conversations, and the Second Amendment is something that has to be nurtured, supported, and fought for every day.
Absolutely. And how about hearing about the Rittenhouse verdict? I mean, really, if it's one of those, if shooting somebody who's hitting you in the head with a skateboard isn't self-defense, or shooting at someone that was pointing a Glock at you while you're on your back while running towards the police was, I mean, that was, I know my co-host Erin Paulette, she's just been texting me any good news. She didn't even want to read it because she's going to feel, I'm actually, as soon as we get off, I'm going to text her because she has been in a panic that it's not going to go well. And it's, when we get bad news. I live here in Massachusetts, and we had, it was last year, the Warman v. Healy, the Supreme Court decided not to take that case, which was where Mara Healy said that, you can't own anything that's an AR. I was out in, when I was out for the NRA annual meeting, I actually was at an event, and I won a stripped AR receiver. And they're like, oh yeah, you can get that. I'm like, I live in Massachusetts. They're like, yeah, you can still get that. No, not even a stripped receiver. I ended up giving it away to my Patreon. So
you really cannot have an AR platform of any kind in Massachusetts now?
No. And as a matter of fact, I've got guns in my safe that, according to both Warman versus Healy and that, I could do prison time for, even though I bought them from, and these are not private sales. I bought them at licensed dealers. Right. And registered them with the state, followed all the rules, and they were Massachusetts compliant guns. And then Healy just said, nope, no such thing as Massachusetts compliant. Any gun that is based on an assault weapon that has been modified to comply with the law is considered an assault. Is still considered an assault weapon in Massachusetts now. Except for some weird loopholes that make absolutely no sense. It seemed like an open and shut case, and when that got punted, that was a rough day for me.
I wonder if they're waiting, if there's a different case they're considering. I don't know. That seems really weird, but
I mean, I'm in theory, it's not all over. It's just, I just took that one personally because that was one of those cases. I did a ton of research on my blog for it. I went through and read every ounce of the bill text and all that and compared it with her statements. And just to get how ridiculous it is, Mara Healy was on, I think it was Vice News, but one of these news magazine, video channels did a story on it, and they pointed out the fact that the Gun Owners Action League stated in their part of the interview, we're trying to get information on how she determines what an assault weapon is or isn't. Right now, how it works is, if you wanted to get a gun, or somebody comes up with a new firearm, you would need to send it into the Attorney General's office, have them look at it, and they will send it back and say yes or no. But we can ask why does this pass? Why did this not pass? And she literally said, we won't tell you that, because if we do, the gun industry will just simply make guns that comply with the law. Yeah. That's the whole point. I'm trying to comply with the law. I mentioned that I registered, I've got an FAL. I registered it with the state. Well, weird. Why would you do that? I'm complying with the law. And unfortunately, now that also means that I have an FAL registered to my name, which is an assault weapon, despite the fact that it's a one feature gun, which should be legal in Massachusetts and was legal in Massachusetts before this. So yeah, this is the reason why I'm such a rabid Second Amendment supporter. There's so much.
I mean, it's interesting. I'm in New York State. FALs actually specifically called out as banned in New York State.
Yeah,
we can do modified AR. I've talked to law enforcement here, and the law in New York State, they're not really enforcing it. What they're doing is, if they get a misdemeanor drug bust and the guy's got an illegal gun, they hold the felony gun over them to get them to roll on the drug, to get them to talk. And that's basically what they're doing with that law. It's BS. I'm really hoping that there's a point when all of this between reciprocity, between these different guns, between us, suppressor act. There's so many things. You can't have a suppressor. That goes back to Bonnie and Clyde. There's no reason not to be able to shoot suppressed. It's better. It's healthier, safer.
It's even worse than Bonnie and Clyde. Actually, is the original origins for why suppressors got in the NFA was because it was during the Great Depression, and the Park Service was worried that people who were starving were going to go into the parks and start jacking game animals with suppressed guns. So literally, their concern was people who were starving.
But I think not at this point now, they just all visualize like James Bond rolling it onto a, that's kind of I think it's craziness.
Well, I will say, Tom, suppressors are illegal in Massachusetts. And I tell you, I joke to people that that's the one gun control law that I'm all in favor on, because I would be so broke if I could buy suppressors. I'd be threading my revolvers. That doesn't work. Don't care.
No, exactly. That's funny. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. And I'm grabbing something.
That my phone rang just as you were saying goodbye.
Oh, that's funny. So anyhow, you have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the
thank you so much, Tom.
time with family, and we'll reach back out at some point. We'll have another conversation here.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. I will talk to you later. Steven!
How are you now?
So we are a little late, but what a great conversation. How about that? Verdict done. That's you heard it here first. Breaking news on Gun Lunch Live with Tom. Pretty amazing. So guys, every 2 weeks, we bring on our Res Viking Steven to he's a tech support and also does a lot of the gun room design work. So are we all about gun walls today? Is that the thing?
Yeah, you had brought up that we had a customer asking about cutting some panels. So for those people who do want to cut panels, I had our QC manager grab me one right here, but I have done it in the past with an angle grinder. And what I found is what I did is take a Sharpie and just kind of connect the dots. Whoops, let me get right in the camera. Connect the dots down there and just follow that down. That's the easiest way I do it, is to stay away from the louvers itself, because they're just really hard to cut. And if you hit a louver, it's not really usable anyway. So it gives it a much neater appearance if you stay away from it. But in our conference room, we actually have a couple cut louvers that we did years ago, so we could go around the outlets and stuff and do the whole wall. I think the biggest thing is make sure you get some touch-up paint to hit the edges of it, so you don't get any corrosion, because you don't want the metal there. And
we supply touch-up paint, don't we?
We have spray paint for that, but it's kind of pricey because it's one can and it's an exact match. What I tell customers usually is just get like a gray, battleship gray, office gray, and just dab it on with a Q-tip. And if the color's close, you're really not going to notice it on the edge. It doesn't really cost you anything.
Yeah, we had a comment on, I might have been during last week's show, actually during one of the videos, a different video about cutting panels. And I am going to shoot a video here fairly in the next week or so, actually cutting panels, showing how we do it here, just so people can see. It's not hard. And you know what? I don't have an angle grinder. You can go to Harbor Freight and get an angle grinder for probably like $12.99, maybe $19.99. They're pretty inexpensive, a little bit of practice, and it's not a big deal. But and then we've got a gun room month is January. And yeah, go ahead.
And we do have, it doesn't cost customers anything. If you email us at support@secureittactical.com, I'll get back to you with a questionnaire on what you're looking to store, your room dimensions. If you got like a quick layout, hand sketched is fine to show where the walls are, ceiling height. The biggest thing that I always got to get back to customers is finding out if their pistols are 9mm or larger, because our current pistol pegs, that's all they'll take. So for smaller guns, in the future, we'll hopefully have something. But right now, I need to know that so I can put the smaller calibers in something else and have them fit right. But then if you like the wall, I can do a quote up for it. I'll match any quotes or any sale prices that we have at the time. And that way you have a layout of what it's going to look like, how your guns are going to fit, and you get the pricing.
Yeah, we do we've got pretty good software for our military side of the business. So the stuff we're able to do is actually pretty good. program's running. I should probably turn off. Hey, I want to shout out here to where I saw the comment come in. Greg Scott. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks to Gary M. at Paramount Tactical. It's Gary Melton directing him to SecureIt. Well, thank you for being here. Gary, guys, anybody out there, check out Paramount Tactical. Gary's a real deal. I've done several of his training classes, best training in the country, in my opinion. He runs a Friday night free-for-all live. I don't know the exact time of it. I've watched it a few. I think it's 7 o'clock Eastern. But to check out Paramount Tactical. Check out the website, and then if you're ever looking to improve your skills, they run the best classes that I have the opportunity to shoot with a lot of people if I want to. I go to his classes, and it's a long drive for me because it's a good weekend. So yeah, Stephen, what's your plans for the weekend? Anything?
Oh, not sure. Probably going to be getting some stuff from the grocery store to get ready for Thanksgiving, do some cleaning. I have one of my friends coming over with his family. So that's always a good time, hanging out with them, and go from there. Hopefully I can get out in zero because like you, I kind of waited a little late. So I actually waited late on my hunting license too, but given so much going on, I'm not even sure if I'll have time to get out to the land and hunt with you. Hopefully I can sneak out there.
Well, do you have a muzzleloader?
I do. I haven't shot it. My brother gave it to me a couple years ago because he didn't want to use it.
Muzzleloader runs all the way till January this year, so that's an opportunity. Guys, we've got 500 acres of land that is just incredible. There's a lot of deer on it, a lot of nice bucks out there. But yeah, get that squared away. I'm going to be hunting tomorrow, and then I've got family function issues. We're actually doing Thanksgiving on Friday this year. I've got my daughters flying in on Thursday from Savannah. I've got a son he's in England. He's not coming home, and my youngest will be coming home I think Tuesday night. But because of family things and issues, we're doing Thanksgiving on Friday. I'll probably be out in one of the blinds or a tree stand Thanksgiving morning and doing something like that. So anyhow, Stephen, thank you very much. Tech Corner with Stephen. We're kind of running late today, guys, but you know what? It's a live show. Hey, things get crazy. And any other words of wisdom for people before we wrap things up?
As usual, make sure you have a brand new Energizer 9-volt in there, alkaline only, and they seem to work the best in our locks.
It's the number one tech support question we get is solved when an old or a really cheap battery is replaced with a quality battery, and that goes for any brand. When you're dealing with stuff like this, buy good batteries. It's like tires. If you're gonna buy tires for a car, buy good tires. There you go. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap things up. Stephen, you have yourself I say, Stephen, have a great week. I'll see you later. Stephen is 15 feet from me. I'm out in the warehouse. He's at his desk, so I'm going to see him as soon as we're done. But anyhow, man, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, have a good one.
Alrighty. All right, guys, we are running a little bit late, but again, it's a live show. Who cares? I'm reading some of the comments right now, and gunwall panels are 16 gauge steel. That is correct. I guess somebody asked that. So guys, gun lunch with Tom, we run every other Friday. That's like a Friday, but the other one. So next Friday will not be on. The following Friday we will be. We're live on YouTube, and I think we simulcast over to Facebook. So jump on with us, join in the conversation. The show's we're going to keep trying to expand it, trying to do more. I want to do some live shows. I got to look at the tech as weather improves in the spring. We'll do some live shows out at the ranch, and I'm going to bring my some cameras out there with me this weekend. Should get some hunting footage. If I've got bandwidth, I might go live. If I'm in one of the redneck blinds, we might just set up a live broadcast. It'll be fairly quiet. But anyhow, guys, so good news on that verdict. I just think they did the right thing. And in America, when somebody's threatening your life, you can defend yourself, which is good to know that that's still possible. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. If you are a hunter, get out there, be safe, be quiet, wait, and hopefully a great big buck comes by and you can have something to hang on your wall, drive your wife nuts. So I'm going to be signing off, everybody. happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks on YouTube or on Facebook. Don't forget, check us out. Check out the website. Check us out on all social media formats. I'm sure my moderator's going to say, Tom, you got to say this and that, but Instagram and all that BS. Hey, I am going to be launching a private, my own YouTube channel, and it'll be, it's in the works, and that's going to be everything from gun storage to a lot of other things I'm doing. I'm right now, my winter project, I'm restoring a 1966 Ford Falcon, building a hot rod, and rebuilding an engine, a 289, stroking it out 331, about 350 horsepower. I've never built an engine before, so I'm shooting a video series on a total noob building an engine. I'm also going to build a 4-link rear suspension. I've never done that before. And so that'll be a video series. I got a couple other series we're going to be doing out at the ranch in terms of just building out the property from blinds to a wood-burning stove. We're going to make our own wood-burning stove, a 55-gallon drum, bunch of other fun stuff. So that channel is in the works and probably will be fully launched and live probably in 2 to 3 weeks. So I will announce that when it's there. Guys, everybody, thank you for joining, and I will talk to you all in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.